this idea of best practices, think about this from a language-based perspective. From a language-based perspective, what best practices says is that I don't have to think. I just have to go find this, lift it up from this company, put it into mine, and boom, I'm done. I don't have to customize it, I don't have to change it, and that word best is awful. You know why? Because, this is the best. I don't even have to do anything to it. I don't have to touch it, I don't have to change it, I don't have to customize it. I've just got to lift it and put it in there. So it actually is doing damage to your thinking process by using the word best practice, because it shuts off your thinking that it could be better. Oh, I got the best practice, that's the best. I might as well not tinker with it anymore, right? So if we destroy this word, it creates an opening for something else. And that opening is going to be the most transformational force that you can ever use in a culture. And that transformational use is hacking, being a hacker. And let me tell you about this, because I think it's great that people have a negative reaction to the word at first, because you think of the word hacker and you think computer hacker who's bringing down whole networks, and that is a hacker. But that's a hacker using hacking for evil. But look at how effective they are. They can bring down whole countries. So we have a lot more to learn from a frickin' hacker than a consultant who comes in and starts talking about best practices, right? So what can we learn from these hackers? The way hacking works, and you can use it for good. So the way hacking works, this is how hacking works. Hacking is looking and seeing that everything is a system, that nothing is independent of each other, that you can't just say customer service is over here and it has nothing to do with marketing, that it has nothing to do with the CEO and all of them. And you can't even eliminate it and say, oh, if we don't have CEO buy-in on this, then we can't do this. Actually, the CEO is just one part of a larger system. So a hacker can look at a system, but then the hacker doesn't need to know the entire system. So the hacker is not the PhD student who studies the whole thing. The hacker is not the MBA who needs to learn about every aspect of business. The hacker is the person who can see a system and notice the vulnerability in it. And see, wait a minute, there's a point here where if I do one little thing, like eliminate the need for jeans, or to not wear jeans, then I can have a huge impact over here. Energy throughout the company, right? Tiny little thing. But that's just one small example. A hacker doesn't look for a best practice. A hacker looks for an opening in the system that can be played with, that can be experimented with. Because here's how belief works. You believe something, and then it either works or it doesn't, right? And beliefs can often be wrong, mind you, right? Like American Idol. What is it, the most profitable TV show in history? And 4 networks turn it down because they believed it wouldn't work. But the network that said, who cares about belief? Let's do this and experiment, and it either works or it doesn't. Those are the winners. So I actually don't want you to believe a word I'm saying. I don't. Please do not believe anything. If you do, you've missed the whole point. The whole point is not to believe me. The whole point is to say, okay, wait a minute. I'm going to go back and hack the system. I'm going to take something, whether it be something I said or somebody else said, and I'm just going to go straight into action and play with that. That's when you know that you're affecting system-wide change, because you think you don't have the power to. You think you got to be the CEO. You think you got to have all the access to all the different stakeholders and channels. You don't, if you can find that vulnerability point within the system. Hack 2 is killing the word buy-in. And the idea with this, again, if you force yourself to remove the word from your vocabulary, it's going to do something really interesting to you. Because the word buy-in itself, words program our minds. They completely program our minds. So when you think of buy-in, what do you think about? You think about sales. You think about selling. It inevitably comes down to manipulation, because you're trying to treat people like resources. Oh, I need this guy because he's my buy-in, he's my stakeholder for this, that. You're trying to play it like a chess game. But the thing is, what do we know about business? It's all relationships, right? And that's not just on the outside, that's on the inside too. So when you've got relationships that are going on the inside, that's what's driving the whole thing. You know it with the customer, that the customer wants to do business with people they like. It's just inevitably shown through research that there's that likability factor when it comes to influence. And if you force yourself to remove the word buy-in from your vocabulary, honestly, I don't know what it's going to fill in there, but I'll give you some clues of what to notice. That you suddenly have to relate more to people. You have to get to know people. You realize, wait a minute, this isn't going to be quick. These are relationships. They take time to build and moments to destroy. So it may be a slightly longer change, but you would get way more leverage out of hanging out with somebody like one of these stakeholders at a bar and getting drunk together, or going out and just doing anything that has nothing to do with work, than any kind of PowerPoint presentation that says all the data behind your decision that doesn't counter that executive's belief that says, oh, I know the data's right, but you know what? I still don't want to do this. And then you get frustrated, you quit, you leave. Whereas if you had just thrown the PowerPoint aside and invited that person out to drinks and just get to know them and who they are and who their kids are, that's your road in.